Yes, it was a piece of popcorn. My name is Werner Puchert, and this is Finding Frequency. So, my son was full of bravado yesterday, and I did mention it in the previous episode that he stuck a piece of popcorn up his nose. A dear friend of mine also mentioned that this is just a precursor to things like arson, car theft, and all kinds of things that little boys tend to get up to as they grow up. So, I'm bracing myself for the next steps because now I've survived level 1 of boyhood. And it was definitely interesting to try and manage it, especially now in this pandemic phase where when we were phoning emergency services, or we didn't try and go to ICU or something like that. We're not insane. He was very stable and kind of going with the flow with his thing stuck up his nose. And of course, we also tried to extract it ourselves, and realizing that it's not going to work. We knew that we had to get someone who's got the right tools and attitude towards the job. And just trying to get hold of someone was actually a freaking nightmare. We couldn't get through to our medical assistants. We couldn't get through to the public guys. And then luckily through family and friends, and I can definitely boldly say this is a very Polish thing, through the network of family and friends, we managed to get access to a medical institution where we could take him to get sorted. But my wife made this interesting observation, because as we were traveling into Warsaw, the city itself, you could really, first of all, sense that there's less people, not a lot of people around. The roads are much quieter. But then when you look outside the window and you peer at your fellow countrymen, there's not a lot of masks or social distancing and things like that going on. So it feels sometimes a little bit surreal, as if there is no real pandemic going on. And I think also when you turn to the news, there's a lot of other very important topics, and it's like this pandemic is now forgotten. And I know it's not true. I know for a lot of my listeners and close family and friends, this is not true, but I can't help but feel like it might be forgotten. And when you turn your back on the enemy, it's dangerous. And I'm saying this because there's a lot of people that I love and care about that I don't want to have end up in uncomfortable or dangerous, life-threatening situations. But it's just the observation. I might completely look at this completely in the wrong way, just based on my context. But yeah, what I would say though is when we got to the facility, I and my father-in-law actually took us there. He didn't want to. Let me rephrase that. The facility didn't want us all to enter, which makes sense. Only one adult and then the patient. And so it ended up being my wife, because as a non-Polish speaker, I had to step aside. But it was really interesting to see the reaction of my son. He was holding my hand all the way there, having really deep conversations about what's in his nose, and really gentle and calm. And then when he got back, he was back to his normal self, demanding a milkshake. So we had to go and sort that out for him. And yeah, everything is completely back to normal. But when you ask him, he'd say he's never going to stick anything in his nose again. So lesson learned there. The only other thing that I wanted to add, and probably my intention for the next couple of days, and just to give context, I've been uploading notes for my friends, and it's been really cool. But it's also put a lot of pressure on me to produce this, because these generous gifts that people have given me, of course, it's not just something I can hit record and share like I'm doing now. I have to produce them, and I want to handle them with care. There's one specifically waiting for me now that I want to produce in a nice way. And I still need to think about what that means to me before I share it with you. But that will come, and I'm kind of ran out of stories. So I need to go back to the drawing board and chase more stories from people. And I also learned that I need to be a bit more agile in it. And I try to initially get a lot of feedback from my friends and family across the globe. But then also, if I have too much, they become irrelevant, because things are changing so fast in this world these days. I might be getting pandemic things, and then the next thing we know, an alien craft has landed on this planet. What next, 2020? What next? So yeah, working on that. But I can also add that um, for the next couple of days, I've got some really intense work to do tomorrow. Something that I've been putting off. So in 2 episodes ago, I mentioned that I'm not going to delete a certain request for work, and now I'm knee deep in it. So tomorrow I have to do that, and then I'm going to start working remotely for the next couple of days. Well, from Friday, if all goes to plan, from our little countryside place, just to get out of town a little bit. So I need to balance all that. And I just realized I'm running out of capacity with what I need to do, because even today I had some great business conversations and things were looking up. I still need to focus on that. So yeah, I'm completely blessed by the fact that there's so much happening, and I'm actually a little bit, I feel this pressure on my chest that I need to get stuff done. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get everything done in the time that I have left, but it just means that I have to be a bit more careful about where I spend my time. So I'll be continuing to share here, of course. My 366 days is very important to me, but there might be less production and a little bit more of sharing from my side. And I think I'll leave it there for this update. If you can just hear me sometimes when I produce these other episodes, how many times I have to re-record saying things, man. But I wanted to reflect on one last thing that I didn't mention yesterday. Working on Nicole's episode, and one thing she said, I left a piece of paper here somewhere. Where is it now? Oh, here it is. Because I listen to these, and I listen to them when people send it to me, and then I note down the things that I think is important and makes like an impact for me. So I don't want to restate what they're saying, but I wanted to say, I think this is cool. Like, you should actually, when people talk, you don't have to necessarily take their direct message, but there's always little sub messages and things that trigger you. And that's what I do with these notes. It's like, what is the little things that is meaningful to me potentially? And it might be different for you. But something she did say yesterday is that no matter what, it's better is to, so with this whole pandemic experience, whatever happens is that she wants to become better than what she was when she went into this lockdown. And then so let me rephrase this, is that and why I think it's interesting is that there's been so many notes shared, people working really hard, people slowing down, people going to nature, people thinking about family. I think everybody's got a different perspective. Of course, there's overlaps, but I think the intention of everybody that I've spoken to up to this point is that they want to see themselves a little bit better once they exit this situation. Now, how do we fully exit? That's a whole different conversation, but I think you know what I mean, is that when they look back on what happened, they want to see some kind of change for the good. Like, there's an improvement. There's either, valuing the time with family, or able to slow down and focus on the right things. And I think that was, I like the simplicity of things. I don't like, I get confused, and sometimes my brain switch off when people get too high-minded, and with clever words. And I think just like looking back and saying, I've actually improved beyond this. And unfortunately, it's not true for everybody. I mean, there's one or two notes that I didn't really get into publishing, but there's also a lot of pain out there, suffering. And some of that pain is going to be long lasting, because people are losing loved ones, and that's not something that you can discard. But there's also these momentary kind of kicks that you have against something. So for example, when the government makes a decision, you just want to go and slap someone around, or you want to say something that for like 20 minutes later you're going to regret saying. And I think there's some of that too. And you probably sometimes just have to get that off your chest, but just watch out who you hurt or who hears you. It's like me. I have written many an email, strong-worded emails, and then when I'm done writing that email, press the delete button. It's okay. I got it off my chest. Doesn't matter who heard me. And I think we need to balance that kind of pain. Like, what is the things that we're angry about because we didn't get booze or cigarettes or whatever from the South African government, or what are we really feeling pain about because we fear for our family and for our stability of our jobs and that kind of stuff. We need to balance those kind of things. I think as real meaningful things for our liberties and going forward, I guess. So I'm going to leave it there, and hopefully you will join me in the next couple of days as I am hopefully going to do a small little motorcycle trip on Friday. Really excited to get out on the road. And I think I'll stop there because I've been waffling already for more than 10 minutes. Come on, you've got better things to do. So as always, I really appreciate you listening to this, and invite you to join me as I go on the journey for the next couple of days. Tomorrow would be still a bit of working, but then we hopefully go into a bit of adventure into the Polish countryside. I hope you're safe, and I hope things are looking up for you on that side. Thanks for listening.